Hey family, good afternoon. Happy spring, happy almost June, happy almost my birthday month. So I haven't been in chemistry class for a while. Today is going to be more so biochemistry class, and we're going to talk a little bit about viruses. So apropos because of what's going on in the world today and this public health pandemic that we are in. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the coronavirus. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the testing methodology and just shoot the shit with you guys. So let's cover some basic topics as far as what a virus is. So viruses are caused by bacteria, and the bacteria that we're exposed to on a daily basis, even the common cold, which is caused by, let's say rhinovirus, I believe, causes the common cold, and your body gets exposed to it. You go through a period where you have symptoms, and then whether you're taking medication or natural herbs or remedies, your body can pass on the common cold, and then it goes through a cycle where your body starts to build what's called antibodies, which are proteins to help fight off infections and strengthens your immune system. And the opposite of antibody would be an antigen. That is which causes the response, or it stimulates the immune system response. As far as what happens when your body catches a cold is the same as when you would be catch coronavirus, or when your body would be exposed to coronavirus. So you see testing sites popping up in your city more and more often now, or you've heard of testing sites, or you've either had a test done as far as coronavirus, you think you've been exposed, someone has been exposed, or you're just like, I may possibly have it. What's happening is that the test that they're doing is called a PCR. For anyone who doesn't know what a PCR is, it's a polymerase chain reaction test. It's a type of methodology that's used in laboratories to amplify or replicate DNA or RNA. DNA or RNA being our genetic information that's inside of our cells that basically makes us us. And that DNA is passed from, your lineage, your parents. So what happens with the virus is that it replicates. It gets into our system and it replicates and it amplifies itself, and that's how it begins. The infection starts, and that's how it begins to spread. So that's how the virus spread. So the methodology of trying to figure out if someone has corona is a little bit tricky because they're using PCR at these testing sites, and that's really not conclusive or comprehensive just on its own. So basically, PCR is used for paternity testing. It's used for genotyping in laboratories. When you're using it on rats and mice, any type of animals, you're trying to genotype them and see what type of genes that they have. If a rat or mice, if comparing some, they have the same genealogy. Also, paternity testing, you want to know the father. I'm 100%, 99%, 99.9% sure this is the father, he's not the father. That's what PCR testing is used for. So it can detect viral loads, but it basically detects whether you have a acute infection with it. When I mean acute infection, I mean like whether you have an infection that is detectable right there at that state, right there at that point when you go to get tested. If you do not have some type of infection or acute infection right there at the spot where you go get tested at that point in time, or within a close proximity of those days, then the test is going to come up as a negative test. So it's not going to tell you if you've been exposed to the coronavirus. So basically what happens is that you're going to have two tests, which is a PCR test and a serology test. Serology test is basically going to monitor your immune system and let you know if you have antibodies or response to antibodies because of an infection. So basically, being conclusive and having comprehensive tests, you want to have both of them done together. You want to have a PCR test and you want to have a serology test. The serology test will let you know if your body has been exposed and it's been latent or something is dormant in your body, meaning that you've been exposed, time has passed within 1 to 3 weeks, within this time frame, let's say corona 14 days, is what the CDC has been saying. That may have changed because they're constantly changing. So it could be a far as, yes, it's passed through my body, now my body is now building up what we talked about, those antibodies. And now I have those antibodies in my immune system, which strengthens my immune system to fight off the virus if I get the virus again. So that's what the serology testing is for. So basically, these testing sites, they don't have both. Both is what you need, or else we're wasting time and we're wasting money. I would not definitely recommend anyone going to a hospital if you do feel like you have any types of symptoms, because people are going into the hospitals and they're getting diagnosed with COVID-19, whether they've been tested, whether they have not been tested. For the most part, the tests are drawing up false positives, which I believe about 30% or more can be false positives in PCR testing. Um, so you want to avoid that. Avoid going to the hospital. If you have corona, you think you have some symptoms, in my suggestion, my recommendation, to treat it just like you would a common cold. You want to make sure you're strengthening your immune system. I say that with natural vitamin C. I say that with elderberry. Even some people are doing steam pots where they go over the pot while they're steaming boiling water that's filled with like orange peels, limes, and they actually breathe in the steam. That's actually good for your respiratory system as well. Actually, another herb is called mullein, Muellin. That's great for the respiratory system. So these herbs, these natural remedies, those are things that you can do if you do feel like you have any types of symptoms and you want to battle or combat those symptoms. That would be my recommendation. But if you want to go get tested, make sure that you either receive both testing or that you just go ahead and do the natural remedies yourself. Because just as a cold can pass through your body, coronavirus can pass through your body. Now, if you have secondary or contributing factors as far as diabetes, you have other respiratory issues, lung issues, those are things you want to take into account as well, because it will be harder for your body to pass any type of virus because your immune system is already weakened. So that's what you see people saying, that they're dying from corona, they're dying from COVID. They're actually dying from complications that were caused by a virus, maybe corona, and the effect of that was that it took an onset or manifestation for those other factors that they already had. So with that being said, I won't go into that anymore, but you want a conclusive test, you want to get a PCR and a serology test done together, because PCR tells if you have an acute infection, serology is going to tell if your body's been exposed to it. And also for the PCR testing, if you go into a site and it's been several days and you've had symptoms, there's more than likely a possibility, very likely, that the test is going to come up negative, because it has a door window or time frame within like 3 to 6 days. So if you don't get in there within 3 to 6 days of feeling like you have some symptoms, the test could basically lose sensitivity. So I say you don't even know what you're getting from either one of those. So be very conscious of that and very knowledgeable of that. Also, with the coronavirus, it is a envelope RNA virus, which means basically that it's easy to inactivate because it doesn't have that membrane. So you can easily inactivate it. You can easily disinfect it. So people are worried about being exposed to things in our house or being exposed to things when they go. It's the same as if before, as if you were being exposed to bacteria when you get the common cold. Like people say things like wash your hands. Of course, you should have been washing your hands and things like that, but you don't have to live in fear and be terrified that everything you touch, you're going to get corona, because your body ultimately needs to be exposed to those type of bacteria so that your body can build some level of immunity with the antibodies. So that's just like when you were a child and you got the chicken pox. I know in families, older families, they would put all the kids together and be like, okay, if one person has the chicken pox, let's put them all together so that they all can get the chicken pox at the same time, so that their bodies all can now start to build that immunity to it and build those antibodies up. So you should have antibodies if you've had chickenpox before. You'll be able to fight that, ward that off, even though they say that you only get them once. But actually, chickenpox in your adult stages can turn into something else as well. I forget the name of it right now, but it's very similar to herpes, but I forget shingles. You can get shingles. Those are the adult chickenpox. So be mindful of that. But yeah. So basically, like if at the temperatures we're at now, so coronavirus basically in UK, they have a peak of seasonality, which was, I believe, February through March. and that's during the winter slash springtime when the temperatures are very colder or cooler, where a virus can more so survive than weather in June, July, and September, which is why you see cities starting to open up back now around these time frames. I don't know if that's why, but my guess is that it's more safe to open up during these time frames because of the fact that it's going to be warmer outside and those temperatures are going to be so warm where viruses cannot survive. So it is good that it is a summertime and it is very hot outside or getting hot outside for the fact that viruses are not going to be able to survive in certain types of extreme heat. And this is why you see in the cold seasons like November, December, January to February, you see people getting sick because why? Viruses can't survive during the cold. So this is why they call it the cold season. If you didn't know that, now you know now. But yeah, like that's basically all I have to talk to you guys about today. If you have any questions, you can please leave me questions below. I will answer them. You can actually DM me on social media at healthneurotics at Instagram. You can also email me at healthneurotics@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer any questions you have pertaining to the biochemistry class we had today or any type of coronavirus questions. I am not a coronavirus specialist or expert, but I am a scientist and I do understand basic biology and basic chemistry or basic biochemistry. So please do feel free to ask and peace out, peoples. Love you.